Hello, this is Professor Singhal. This is the third video in the series of total 5 file processing Java video 305. In this one we are going to be reading from an input file and printing to an output file. In this case we are not going to process the input file data, we are just going to print the data as is. Please watch video number 1 and 2 before watching this one. Also read chapter 4 of my ebook on loops. If you start watching this video directly, you might miss stuff that was there in 1 and 2. So read the book first, ebook first, then watch video number 2, and then watch this one. Okay, thank you. So in this case, we're directly going to go to the Eclipse and do certain things. Since we're going to read from the input file, we're going to get an input file name and bind it to a scanner object. And in order to get an input file name, we're going to need a second scanner, or the first scanner in this case, to get the input file name from the keyboard. And to write to an output file, we'll get the name of the output file and bind that to a print stream object. We have done that in video number 2. So we'll kind of repeat those steps right now. So this is our main method here. So in order to get the name of the input file, I'm going to create one scanner first. So I'm just going to kind of get those lines from here and show you what they are one more time. So, and this is going to require an import, so I just do that. So here I declare the first scanner, keyboard system.in. This will be used to get full path to the input and output file from the user. And here I prompt the user on line 7 that in this program we will read from a text file and print its content to another file, and then we say please have the relative path to the file, or absolute or relative path if you're running the Windows operating system. And in line 9 we actually get the file name. And as you know from the previous cases, previous videos, once you get the file name of the input file, we can bind it to first to a file object, and then we bind that file object to a scanner object, and we do that in these couple of lines up to here. And we also, as we go along, we feed back to the user as to what we are doing. Okay, this line has been put twice, so let me delete that. So once we get the file name, we feed back to the user what file name they entered. We tell them we are going to create a file object, and we create a file object and pass the file name. Obviously this needs another import, so we import java io.file, and then we tell them that we finished creating the file object, and then we are going to bind the file to a scanner object now, which we do in line 16. fread is a variable, it's not a class. Class is scanner, and we pass the file object that we created on line 13 to the scanner constructor here. This requires a throws declaration, so we do that. And as I mentioned earlier, this is required so that we don't have to add the error handling code. Java allows system.out on one line and .println on other, because this space doesn't matter. So don't be scared by that. This is normal. Having them in 2 lines is completely normal. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so now we do binding, creating the output, creating the print stream to handle output file writing. Okay, and that is simply done. Asking the user again, now this time the full path to the output file, getting that, passing that to a second file object. So on line 21 we tell user to enter the output file name. We get that, and we can reuse the same variable that we used before. Absolutely no problem in doing that. Right here. And then we pass that file name to a second file object, F2. This time we'll be binding it to an output file name. And then we pass that to a printstream object. And obviously we need a printstream input as well, and that got added right there. Okay. Alright, so we've created a scanner fread which is bonded to the input file. We have created a printstream PS which is bonded to the output file. Now we are ready to read the input file and write exact same file to an output file. Okay, now input file may be empty or it may have something in it. We're just going to assume that it has something in it. If that's our assumption, we can simply say this, that while fread dot has next line, so meaning here is as long as input file line to read, then do whatever we're going to do in this loop. So if this is true, has next line will return true as long as there is a next line to be read. And if that is true, then I want to read that line. So here I just create another string, ln equal to fread dot next line. And once I read that, I can print that to output file. And printing is simply done ps dot println, just the way you do system.out.println. So we print that here. And this will keep going until has next line return false, and that will happen when it reaches the end of file character. Okay, that's when it will exit the loop, and in the meantime, of course, it will print line by line to the output file. Okay, once I'm done with my loop, I say ps.println, or actually I'm just going to do system.out because I just want to print to output file only what is in the output file, only what is in the input file. And last but not least, it's very important to close the file, both files as a matter of fact. Dot close and ps dot close. If you don't close your output file, you may see nothing in it because buffer is not flushed. We have talked about this issue in a number of different ways. Alright, I think we're ready. As usual, as I mentioned in past, I would like to copy and paste path to input file as well as to output file in a notepad first, so I can copy and paste that. That would minimize the typing errors. My input file is this here, line of text, and its path is as follows. So I take the path, copy and paste here, then I say, in fact I'm going to go as far as even copying this one. There's absolutely no reason to make typing errors. Okay, and then I'm going to create output file in the same location. So I'll get this one and go here and say output of lines of text.txt. Okay, so this kind of planning is very important. You know exactly where your input file is, exactly where your output file is. You get the full path. And in this case, output file doesn't exist, but we know if it doesn't exist, Java would create one. So I know program is going to ask for that, so I can already copy this one. Now I go here and run my, okay, I'm in the right folder. So run as Java application. And it says, in this program, we will read from a text file, print its content to another file. Please have the relative path or absolute relative path if you are running Windows. Oops, sorry, I messed up. Okay, run it again. And I just copy and paste the path that I have for the input file. And it feeds that back to us. Gives us some progress items, progress announcements. Now I do the output file, and note output of text.txt does not exist right now. It's nowhere in this folder. So I'm going to copy this one now and paste that here. And of course on console we are not going to see very much except the fact that it will just say end of the program, but we created in identical. And if we go to our folder here, this file that didn't exist, in fact 1003, here's my clock 1003 just got created. And it has exact same line that my input file had. Lines of text had this content, and my other file, output file, so lines of text.txt had this content, my output of text same content. Okay, so this is the procedure in which using which you can read an input file and make a copy of it into an output file. Again, we have shown that just as an example. Obviously, for anything useful, we are going to process the data that is in the input file and then write that data to the output file. That would be done in videos number 4 and 5. Okay, thank you.